Hello everyone, my name is the Brother of Hog and welcome back to a first reptile video. I'm displaying right here the a leopard gecko and its tank and the do's and don'ts of owning a gecko and what you should have for it and how you can prepare for it. Now this is a rescue leopard gecko, approximately 2 years old, or 1 or 2 years old. You can tell by the spotting on these guys, and usually younger geckos tend to have more of line spotting on their back as they clump together, and as they age, as they progress in life, the spotting actually tends to circular and separate from one another as their face. This guy's still got a decent amount of line spotting on him. Now it is pretty bright for him since it is the middle of the day, since these guys are primarily nocturnal, so I am kind of bothering him, but I don't know, he's doing pretty good so far. Sorry about that, Gus. And I want to explain the cage I have for it. Now everything all together was probably about, I don't know, $120 for the whole setup, but I do have a sort of an advanced setup for these guys. And I'm going to explain to you first on what you should feed it, the necessaries for it, the equipment inside, and just give you an overall review and the temperature and how to keep these guys warm, what they need. And so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with the nutrition, food, water, what you should give these guys. I do feed them off of two different ways. Number one is dried mealworms from exonutrient.com. This bag, 1 pound bag, filled with about to here with mealworms. Very, very good deal. About, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks with that from what I get from these guys. I use for these for the leopard gecko and my hedgehog. As you can see, excellent for sugar glider, hedgehogs, kinds of reptiles, birds. All I know is that I switched my leopard gecko's diet. This is Gussie, by the way. Leopard guide from just live to dried mealworms with a Reptocal. Now these guys, they do not require so much food. They eat generally, I don't know, once every other day on a regular basis, but these guys, they do enjoy the dried mealworms. I have them on a primarily dried mealworm diet, but every so often I take out the live mealworms here. Let's see if I can open this. There's about 100 of them. No, I'm not gonna be able to. I really have to pop the seal. There's about 100 of them in here. I think it was about $5 from PetSmart. It's a very, very good deal. I'm not really concerned. I usually, I have been feeding Gus super worms as a treat every so often, since they are high in fat, and it's really good for him. Since this guy was a rescue, he was I'll show you the before pictures displaying somewhere, either probably after the video or in the description. I'll show you a yeah, you can check out the before pictures of these guys. He was very skinny, very malnourished. The tail, he was it was very sad. So I did take this guy in. I did nurture him. I'm guessing I've given him a very nice life. He was in, you can see traces of this sand here. I forgot the name of it. But you do not want to keep these guys on sand. You want to keep them on a Repto carpet, or I don't know. I enjoy this carpet. I really like it. This stuff's great. You can just take it out when you clean out the cage. I have 2 sheets of this. Take one out, you can wash it, put the other one in. This stuff's really great. I really recommend this for reptiles if they do not require a bedding, or they're snakes and usually require fine aspen bedding. But these guys don't really require much. But he is happy to be out of the sand. See, the sand does get trapped in between their fingers and can cause rubbing against their bellies, which you really don't want. But overall, these guys, I would really recommend getting a leopard gecko as a pet. They're non-expensive. You can get them, I don't know, PetSmart, or if a friend has them, a breeder, anyone works. But make sure you save these guys, because these are a very, very cool species, and I really enjoy having a gecko. But yeah, let's get into it. So I did tell you about the diet of the mealworms and also the dried mealworms, but you do want to use Reptocal. You can get this from either PetSmart Plus or any other calcium for reptiles. I just use Reptocal since, I don't know, basic generic brand has a lot in here. What you want to do for these guys is, let's see if I can open up the cage. This is a Exoterra tank, by the way, and what I like to do is take the dried mealworms, put them up in this little mealworm dish, which I did get for like $2 at PetSmart. Very, very cheap, very, very easy. It works great for it. You can put live ones in here too, but I take the dried ones and I just put a little calcium powder over it. Since the geckos, what they do like to do is they like to lick calcium powder, so it's very, very good for them, since it encourages them to eat the dry mealworms, because he did premature, he was reliant on the crickets, live crickets, which are not the most fun to keep, not the most fun to have, so I prefer mealworms, and Gus is loving them. I just refilled the dish for, looks like he's already been snacking in there just a little bit. You can tell by the traces of crushed mealworms, or it could just been the ones I packaged in. But these mealworms are great. I would totally recommend getting these, if not at Exact Nutrition. I think they do sell them at the retail stores of, I don't know, PetSmart or everything. But moving on to the second part of this, I do want to explain the features I do have in here for it. But before we do a quick review of that, I want to show you the necessaries of it. Reptiles, especially the leopard geckos, are native in the Asian deserts, so they do require a lot of heat. For these guys, you want to generally be around 85 to 95 degrees. On one side of the tank, so they need a cool spot, which I usually keep on the right side here, and I have a heat mat right under here. It's a Zoomed reptile heat sheet. It's been working great for me. I did use an old one, but it blew out on me, so I just went over to PetSmart, got some more, I don't know, items inside of here for it, and he's been pretty happy. And I also got a, you can tell the temperature, I got a digital thermometer for it, displaying a Zoomed digital thermometer to explain the heat for me. So it's 91 degrees right now. He's just sitting in there. He's pretty loving it, because the heat mat is right under here. Power cord is coming out over there. So it's a stick-on heat mat. It sticks right on. You peel off this paper, you stick it on the glass, and you just plug it in, and it will keep, I don't know, the temperatures fluctuate, but usually during the day it stays around 90, 92, usually the prime area for these guys, since they do like to sleep during the day most of the time, especially this one. He's been really tired lately, and I'm sorry for waking him up. But having one side on the heat mat, so the rock is in the heat, which is good for him. Also with the rock in here, it does have 3 layers, so 1, 2, 3. Usually stays on the bottom since it's the most warm, but he'll climb up and exit through the little window up there, and he can also go in there. If I'm ever going to feed him the live ones, what these guys are known for doing is sticking their heads out right by their rock or their cave or their little hole in the wild, and they'll stick their head on the way for an insect to crawl by. When they see that motion, they'll just latch right for it and then run back into their cave. So I really enjoy this rock. I'm glad I bought, I think it was like 15 bucks for this. It wasn't bad, but 15, 20, I don't remember. But it wasn't bad for this, and I'm very happy I got it. It's been working out great for me, and I haven't had any problems. But okay, so now we're moving on basically on the insides of this. So I do have a stick here, a little branch. It is taking up a lot of space, but this thing is great for geckos, since they do, it may not look like a lot of room inside of this cage, but there actually is more room with all this stuff in here than without it, because they do like to climb. They like to climb all over. They are primarily terrestrial, so I'm not going to crawl up the wall or something, but they are going to crawl on top of all this and climb up there. Now, what geckos generally do is they find an area where they go to the bathroom, basically, and they'll find one spot. So this is, of course, the stick would be the spot for it. You know, I'm glad it is, since you can just take it out, wash it out, easily to wash out, since, I don't know, it's just basically a stick tied to a little cork wood right over there, and it works out great for me. So I'm actually pretty happy he definitely goes to the bathroom on the stick, because it's a lot more easier for me, because I can just wash it out right away. The stick itself, I think it was like 15 bucks also, but it's been working out pretty well for me, so I'm pretty happy. Now this coconut, this is one of, let's see if I can pull it out for you. This is one of my gecko's favorite things. When I did receive him, this is what I got with it. The coconut, I don't know, it's been working great. He loves crawling on top of it and sleeping inside, because it is a cooler area. It's about 90, what's the temperature? 91.8 on this side. So around here, it's going to be about room temperature, maybe 70, maybe a little hotter since the heat radiates. So maybe let's just call it like 75 or higher. A little cold in my room right now, so it can be lower. I'm just giving a basic estimate. And I do have 2 food dishes, like I reviewed with the Reptocal and the dry mealworms. But I also have a water dish, which needs to be cleaned out, because I do have a little moss in here. Now these guys are from the desert, but they do require a little humidity. So I did buy way oversized. Actually, I wouldn't buy it. I was given a Zoomed terrarium moss, basically box of this, 10 gallons. It's pretty good for these guys. I only use a little. I sprinkle it just a little bit under the coconut, but it seems like he's digging it out under there, but a little bit all over. But I do keep the heat side, the rock side, without it. It's been working out great. He does shed. They do shed their skin, but they do eat it, which, since this guy was a starving gecko, I think this is the only way he was really kept alive, was by eating his own skin, because the crickets weren't working out so well. But I don't know, he's doing pretty happy now. So with the water dish, mealworms, stick, as I would say, and the rock, along with the dry mealworms, and the Reptocal, and then the probe. This thing does run off of a probe, which is going inside there in that little suction cup with a little thermometer, so it is detecting the heat at all times. So I can always make sure it's good, and if it ever blows out, I can just put a new heat mat under there, since they do require heat. But yeah, so this is basically the gist of my reptile, my leopard gecko setup. It was very quick, very easy. This is a very affordable option if that's a problem for you. And it fits in a little space for me over there, so I'm really happy. And so yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys for tuning in this one. If you ever see a leopard gecko and you're thinking of having a pet, I would definitely recommend these guys. They are great pets. You can handle them whenever you want, but if you're ever going to get them, just make sure they're settled and they're comfortable with you, because you don't want to startle these guys. And make sure to be very slow, be careful, be cautious, and make sure to, because they do bite. They will bite if they think they're angry, if you anger them, or if they might think you're food. I've been bitten a few times. It doesn't hurt or anything, but you want to make friends with these guys. Don't want to make enemies. So thank you guys all for watching this, and make sure to tune in to my gaming channel, and I'll be posting more episodes and reviewing my hedgehog habitat over there. So thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you later.